Hello, hello, hello. So we are talking about customer avatars or profiles, user profiles, whatever you want to call them. We're going to talk about what they are and why they are important to your business. Hey, this is Marlon from marlonmcpherson.com, and this is Future Steps Creative, the show that talks about online business strategies. I try to break them down, especially around content marketing and website strategy, to make it easier for you to understand and take those and apply them to your online business. So, in this episode, as I've mentioned, I'm talking about customer avatars or profiles. These are basically the type of people that you're going to be targeting in your business or your brand. So you need to, first of all, let's examine what they are and how you should go about doing them. I've got 3 points that I'm going to make throughout this video as to how you can approach it. But really, it's important for you to have these avatars because in order to sell products, in order to connect with the right people, you need to get in front of them. And in order to get in front of them, you need to understand who they are, what their needs are, why it is that they're looking for what it is that you do, and then how are you going to take that and position your business, your brand, your product, your service, or whatever it is that you're trying to get them to do. How are you going to put yourself in front of them to say, hey, I'm that person, I'm that business, here's that product that you're looking for to solve your specific problem. So you need to look at things very laser focused as opposed to doing more like a shotgun approach where you're just going to throw something out there and see who picks it up. You need to be a bit more focused with that because that is crucial as to whether or not your business will succeed or whether or not your product will actually sell or your service will actually sell. So the first point that I would like to make about profiles or avatars and how they can help is messaging. Messaging is essentially everything that you do or say about your brand and how you write your copy, how you write your content, whether this is on your website, whether you do Facebook ads, whether or not you do newspaper ads, whatever it is that you're doing, your messaging has to sound like it connects with the person that you're trying to reach. Different people react differently to different types of messaging. So you have to really understand the psyche and what it is that's going on in the conversation of that person's mind already and craft your messaging to actually speak to that person at their level and meet them at the point that they are already within that conversation that they're having amongst themselves. They know what they're going through. They know they need to solve a particular problem. You need to come from a position of empathy within your messaging, meaning that you need to understand that, okay, we know or I know that you're going through this. This is how I'm going to make it easier for you, whether it is through the content that you put out, through your content marketing, or it is through that one product that you have that they really want. Okay, so you need to figure out how you approach your messaging, and customer profiles and avatars by understanding who they are is crucial in helping you to craft that message. Number 2 is it will help you decide on what product or service to create. And this is a tricky one because a lot of oftentimes we go out there and we actually think we know what people want and we create the products that maybe we would buy. And we tend to not realize that we don't have a ton of replicas out there. We might be our target customer, yes, in a way, but we might just be a small percentage of the type of person that is likely to buy that product or service. But we kind of get emotionally attached to what we're doing and we just look at it from our perspective. And unfortunately, sometimes we don't look at the data, or we may not have any data to look at to really know whether or not this is going to connect with the people and solve their problems outside of our unique needs. There are other people out there as well that might have similar needs to us, but they might have nuances that makes it slightly different, that we may need to put that one extra thing in the product or take away that thing from, or shape it in a different way or position it in a slightly different way to be able to make sure that we're maximizing the impact that that product is going to have and make it so desirable that people are just going to be lining up to buy it. So yes, you might not have the data. So what you'll probably need to do is to make some assumptions about your avatar at first. As soon as you start getting some interaction with potential customers, potential leads, or potential ideal customers, you will then get a better understanding as to why they're seeking your product out or seeking you out or seeking a solution. And then you can kind of like craft that product off the back of that. That's why instead of going with a product first approach and then trying to find people to buy that product, it's it's better to actually do some market research, do content that people are going to interact with, and you observe the interactions that they're having with the content. And you're obviously going to make the content specific to certain things. And if you see more interest around a particular thing or a particular area that is a pain point, essentially, then that is where you need to probably put your attention in terms of trying to come up with a product or service that is going to cater to that pain point. So hopefully that's not too confusing or overly convoluted. The third and final point that I would like to make here is that it helps you to build trust more easily and brand advocacy. So what that means is that, again, it comes down to the emotional connection and knowing and understanding who these people are. You need to think of them as just one person rather than thinking that, oh, I'm doing this for a bunch of different people. If you can focus in on one particular person and try to map out what their life is like and try to get an understanding as to what their motivation is as it regards to trying to solve that problem or making some kind of change in their life. If you can get to the root of that and get why they think what they think, this is going to help you then to speak to them in a certain way through the things I've mentioned before, through the messaging, through the content, through the marketing activities. And you're going to be able to connect with them so deeply that they actually think, oh my gosh, this is who I've been waiting for the whole time. I forget all these other people. At that point, you really don't have competition because you're not connecting on a humanly level through the way that you've really understood them and the way that you've actually answered all their niggles and objections that they might be having as to why they don't want to take action at this point in time. Maybe they just haven't found that person that they've connected with and built trust with. And through the various touch points that you have, touch points meaning that the number of times people come in contact with you for some kind of interaction. So it could be they've found a video from you, or they found a podcast, they found a blog post, or they saw an ad, and they've taken some kind of action, maybe to get your lead magnet, which is your free item that you might give away in exchange for their email. You've delivered value there, and you've delivered value through an email you've sent them. You've delivered value through a consulting call or whatever it is that you're doing, a free sample, or just answering a question via an email. This is slowly, gradually building trust. And I would say that if you can make it so direct to their specific needs, then you're going to build a lot more trust a lot more quickly. And they're going to advocate for you and your brand. They're going to tell people about you. They're going to tell people, their friends, whoever will listen. And they might just become a raving fan where everything that you put out, they buy. So these are the points that I'd like to make. If you've got any questions, do leave me a comment inside the YouTube video, or if you're listening to this on the podcast, go ahead to marlonmcpherson.com/contact. Send me a message. I'll try to answer you there. But crucially, I've got a community on Facebook. I've got a group. It's a closed group that I'm trying to help people within that group. So you can join, just search for Future Steps Creative on the groups on Facebook. I'll leave a link in the show notes as well. And ask me whatever questions you want to ask me regarding content marketing or anything related to the stuff that I do. And I will help you with that as much as I can. The group is free to join at this moment in time. So go ahead and head over to there and just become active in there if you can. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Do feel free to share, subscribe, and again, leave comments and so on. And I will catch you in the next one. Thank you. Take care.